I was informed by Miss Garcia of this story right here, and let me tell you something right now. These palm-colored politicians, or as I call them, politricians, have shown their natural ass over the last month or so involving this pandemic, virus, whatever you'd like to call it. Now, I'm not familiar with this guy, but if I was, I would probably punch him dead in his face for the comment that he recently made. So this man's name is Ken Turnage II, and he is a Northern California city official, and he made a comment on a live stream that I guess was like a panel style discussion about people who were elderly. I'm gonna go ahead and read what he said. A northern city official has been ousted after he suggested on social media that sick, old, and homeless people should be left to meet their quote unquote natural course in nature during the virus pandemic. City council members in Antioch, a city of about 110,000 people 35 miles east of Oakland, voted unanimously Friday night to remove Ken Turnage II from his post as chairman of the city's planning commission. NBC Bay Area reports that there was a swift uproar after Turnage characterized people with weak immune systems as a drain on society. This is about as bad as what Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said down in Texas. This is like their comments get worse and worse and worse depending on who says them. And they're letting you know what they really are. Like I tell you, money is their God. If they cannot have access to their own personal economy, then they will lose it. And these are the kind of people you have to watch out for, because you put a gun in their hand, they're going to do one or two things: use it on someone else or use it on themselves. And because they want to see this thing through to the end, they might use it on others. Shoot, they might use it on their own family members. He wrote on Facebook, "The world has been introduced to a new phrase, herd immunity, which is a good one. In my opinion, we need to adapt a herd mentality. A herd gathers its ranks. It allows the sick, the old, the injured to meet its natural course in nature." So he's basically comparing what goes on in the wilderness and wildlife to actual human beings in real life. As for homeless people, he added that the virus would fix what is a significant burden on our society and resources that can be used. In other words, if the homeless die, let them die. That's basically what he's saying. Turner later deleted the post but refused to resign or back down from his comments. During the 2-hour council meeting held on Zoom, Turner said his personal opinion had no bearing on his duties as a planning commissioner and that removing him would violate his freedom of speech. There it goes again. What did I just tell you? Didn't I just talk to y'all about the Coonstras basically saying the same exact thing? Well, maybe not exactly what she said, but using that freedom of speech thing. They love to use that freedom of speech thing when they can say what they want and no one checks them on it. But when people break down what it is, see, here's the thing. To palm color people and coons like Candace Owens, the freedom of speech thing, y'all really, really need to look deep into what that is. It's more than just, oh, freedom of speech, or with the First Amendment. It's more than just saying, oh, I can say what I want. It's more to that. And especially when you're dealing with something as serious as this pandemic that is a global thing. It's not like this thing is just regulated to one nation or one city or one state. It's a global thing. It's very serious. And when you say stuff like that, it's very reckless and very cold-hearted and heartless. But I'm glad they're making these statements, because now we get to see firsthand how these people operate. Because they're telling on themselves left and right. It seems like every week there's a new politrician or some figurehead that opens up their mouth and says filth like that. City officials countered that his posting caused a loss in confidence and created a disruption to the city. Mayor Steve Wright said politicians are held to a higher standard by representing the city to all. And that's another thing. This guy holds a high position. It's not like he's some random person that's tweeting that has little to no influence. He has influence. And people latch onto that. That's why when someone has said no one's going to listen to 45, and then I just recently did that video talking about those two idiots down in Georgia who decided to ingest disinfectants and other products. Where do you think they got that from? Or whenever 45 said that this was a hoax and people started to say the same thing, where do you think they got that from? All they got to do is say the thing that they want to hear, and people will act, and people will do it. After the council stripped him of his post, Turner said that if residents had lost confidence in him, that's their opinion, and I can't help that. It's not like it used to be, he lamented. When you could have an opinion, talk about it, and then sit down and have a beer together and talk about football. Okay. That's basically all it boils down to. These palm-colored individuals and those like Candace Owens feel that their First Amendment right to say whatever they want with no consequence is being stripped away from them. You can still say whatever you want, but now you're getting checked. That's basically all it boils down to. And when it comes to something that's as serious as this, you have to be very careful with what you say, especially when you have influence. See, like I said, we're going into a new sense of normalcy now. And now they're fearing that this nation is turning into a communist style nation. Trust and believe. I don't think they would want that. I don't think they would want a nation that will run and operate like Korea or any other nation under a communist regime. You better pray that the U.S. stays a socialist economy or a socialist nation, because I don't think many will ever thrive under it. If you think you can't say nothing now, let this place turn into a communist country. You can't even whisper what you want without getting checked. But I think they did the right thing in removing this guy. But this is sending basically a warning shot. Listen, those days where you think you could just get away and say what you want, that's over. Like, even over on Fox News, they're getting rid of people, palm colored or otherwise. They not playing with these people anymore. They said, look, this thing is serious. We are dealing with something of grave danger, and we can't have y'all out here making these wild comments like that, especially if you have a high platform that can cause people or incite people to do the wrong thing. Now, if they decide to do the wrong thing on their own accord, that's on them. They got to deal with their own consequences. But when you're telling people to go out there and do what they want, they're going to shut you down. They're going to do their best to stop you from doing it. And it's not because they're trying to silence you. It's because they're trying to curb this thing, and you're not helping. Just because it's not happening to you doesn't mean it's not happening. And I would like to know what the age is for this Ken Turnish, the second person, because looking at this picture, he looks like he could be in his 50s. I'm not entirely sure, but let's just say that he definitely is in AARP, card carrying member mode. It's funny, these old palm-colored individuals have all this stuff to say about the elderly, but they damn near elderly themselves, or they are elderly. I'm looking at you, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. You 70. You making these comments, well, maybe we should just get rid of these people because, we need to open up the economy. We can sacrifice a few of them. You are in that same age range of those who could be sacrificed. But like I said, he's trying to see this thing all the way through to the end. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Have your notifications turned on. I'll talk to you in the next one.